So listen, this week I have been blown away by the whips and the FOs that y'all have been doing, and I want to show them to you. The first one, I actually should have shown this last week. I apologize. I had it set up and somehow, I don't know, did it not load in my interface or what? But this is Bobby Jopling, and she says she finally got around to weaving in her ends on her, I think you pronounce it Lee, top, and it's beautiful. That colorway was, it has Bond anniversary, and I don't remember if she put another colorway in there with it or not. That was a fabulously popular colorway, which, by the way, this past weekend when I was at She Sells Yarn in Ormond Beach, that was the occasion. Her anniversary was how that yarn got dyed up in the first place. And I just happened to see that she still has at least one skein of that on Silky Sock hanging on her wall. So, if you fall in love with that colorway, you can always reach out to Helen and ask her about it. And then Valera, the socks that she just mentioned, look at all that red, which I know makes Valera happy. It also makes me happy because I love red. And if you're not familiar with it, these are her Cub socks. So she's keeping track of the Cub scores, and the red represents the scores of the Cubs, and then the blue is the opposing team. And then Valera, you'll have to tell, Bo and I were trying to figure out the green. That's not in between each game. You must have multiple games. Bo said maybe it's in between each series of games, because apparently in baseball they tend to have series of games, which I haven't watched baseball in years, so I did not remember that at all. But anyway, the socks are looking gorgeous. And then Anne, oh my goodness. Okay, so these are, she knit these socks for her husband. I think she said he calls them his chocolate socks, which I love. I think I need a pair of these in my future. She used Mocha Mousse to do it, which means I'm going to have to dye another skein because I don't have any left. But I think I need these socks in my future because they look awesome. So yeah, nicely done, Anne. Nicely done. All right, this is Laura. She finished Tana is the name of the shawl, and she used the First Love colorway, and which I thought was interesting. I looked up the shawl because I really like it, so I looked up the pattern, and the First Love colorway that she used actually looks a lot like. Very similar to the colorway that the pattern designer used. So, and I think it's cool in there. This is a great pattern for a variegated skein, and it kind of shows you the different layout of color that you can get with a variegated skein in a wide project like that. Because you can see down at the bottom there's kind of, it almost looks like some striping going on. But then when you get up in the further sections going up higher, you see just a little bit of color pooling, which is really fun. I love that. I love how that worked out. So nicely done, Laura. This project, oh my goodness, had me swooning. Of course, Katrin is knitting a hat, and she paired executive producer with nutmeg, and which it makes sense that they would go together. Green and pink oftentimes will look good together. But these, wow, she just hit it out of the ballpark. Forgive my pun. And I thought it was interesting. So she mentions using something called a dis stitch, which is a way of knitting, and then you get these kind of elongated looking stitches. So I looked it up really quick, and I thought it was really cool for those who have done the shadow wrap heel on a sock. I know, totally different project, but when you lift up that bottom stitch on the to create your short rows, that's essentially what a dis stitch is. So I just thought it was so cool. The shadow wrap heel gives it a different term, and you don't knit it together right away necessarily, but like you do with the dis stitch. But anyway, it's really cool. If y'all haven't ever seen it, which I had not, then I would say look it up. There's some neat videos on YouTube that just quickly show you exactly what a dis stitch is. I think it's awesome. And this hat is amazing. I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's done. All righty, Anne. Nope, 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 not Anne. I was thinking Anne because Anne had two projects. She has two projects this week, but this is Linda. So Linda did something new to her. She said she was watching the Crazy Sock Lady who was using minis, and she liked the way it looked, so she did it as well. And basically, what you've got here is a pair of scrappy socks, which, as she said, it looks cool, but and this is my wording, it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to weave in all those ends. But yes, I do love, I love a scrappy sock, especially when they're not perfectly matching. So, these are very near and dear to my heart. I love them. All right. And I probably should have mentioned the colorways. She used a bunch. You're Blushing, Candy Shards, Happy as a Clam. Those are the cuffs and the toe, or the heels and the toes, sorry. And then Dawn Patrol, Punk Pink. Nice. All the colors. I love it. All right. And then Anne, our overachiever, which I love, she finished her Stay Toasty scarf. You're really showing me up, Anne. I don't appreciate it. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. So it matches her hat that she made earlier. I think it was the Ponderosa hat. And yeah, so it looks amazing. And both of these were knit in leprechaun in fluffy sock and fluffy lace held together. So yeah, looking good. And I just noticed that Cindy Nicholas is watching over on Instagram. Welcome, Cindy. Glad you're here. So, all right. Okay, Valera, it is for each game. Okay. So, maybe that'll make more sense to Bo. It takes so little to confuse me. And yes, Bo, yes, in the back of Valera, I don't know if y'all noticed, in the back of Valera's sock picture, there is a Cubs jersey. And I forget the name of the jersey that Valera was gifted, the player, but I do know that Bo was very impressed when he heard that Valera had gotten that jersey. It's a big deal. All right. So, which I'm guessing was number 23. That's why Bo was asking about that. Oh, let's see. Yeah, Laura says the shawl has lots of garter stitch, garter goodness, and some eyelets, and that's like perfect for a variegated pattern. Not too much intricate lace, but some yarn overs make it look good, and some garter stitch or stockinette stitch, anything like that. So, all right. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, Carol, I know the disc stitch. I was like, I've never heard of this. Never, like never, ever. So it was very cool to get it. Rhino, that's not the name that I remember y'all saying was the player. Anyway, I'm just teasing you, and you're not. You know what? You show me up anytime. I welcome it. I love it. So, actually, I have to say, y'all, have I not been getting more knitting? There goes the kitty cat again. And she's part black. I don't know why I say she. She looks like a she to me. I used to love a black cat. When we were younger, we had a barn. My dad always wanted to have cats. And so we'd get a fresh round of kittens every once in a while. And if there was a black one, I always chose the black one. I guess he must have gotten enough for each of us, because I remember us on at least one occasion picking that, we would, which cat was ours, even though they were pretty much wild cats. They lived out in the barn, and we fed them slop from the dinner table at night. So, but anyway, the black cats were always the one I wanted. So anyway, as I was saying, have I not been knitting more lately? I love it. I'm so proud of myself. Anyway, y'all remember my Musselburgh hat? Guess what? I finished it. It's not my Musselburgh hat. This is Bo's Musselburgh hat. So it's it's a little big for me. If it were mine, I don't know. Actually, it's pretty good if you want it down around your ears. So there it is. This side is my green side, which I really like. And then the other side is the executive producer side. I think that's the one Bo likes the most. He tried it on, it fits, and then I walked off with it. And he's like, "Where are you going with my hat?" It's like, I have to show it off on the live. Come on. And honestly, I'm probably going to take it to a couple of festivals and trunk shows. So he thinks he's getting it, but not for a while. It's not like he needs it. Although, it still probably would. No, still not going to need it. But he was looking up the temperature for Elijah since we'll be there at the end of this month. And it's like a 59 degrees today. It was very exciting. So we hope the weather lasts for a few more weeks. So it'll be nice and cool when we get there. So yeah, I didn't count rows. I don't know. I'm curious if any of y'all that have finished the muscle burra, if you counted your rows to make sure that you had even lengths. I just measured. So I started with executive producer. So I just measured like how long it was. And then from the increases down to where I switched to Gretna Green. And then I measured that much on Gretna Green before I started the decreases again. And I think I got it pretty darn close. So yeah, I didn't, if I were really particular, I probably should have counted the rows, but I didn't do it. Decided not to. So, but yeah, I like it. It was a good, this is definitely, it's a little bit kind of like having vanilla socks on the needles, that it's good for, you have mindless knitting when you're sitting in front of the TV. So I really enjoyed that about this pattern. So yeah, it was super fun. I really like that. So I spent a lot of my week working on that, and didn't get as much done elsewhere. However, I think I don't remember where I was at last week. I showed y'all my Stay Toasty scarf, I think, and I've made a little bit of progress on it. I did notice, I was showing my mom because I told her that she might like to make some of these, and because she's been knitting scarves. She knit a couple scarves for her sister, and I don't remember who else. And she was like, I'm kind of don't have anybody else to knit scarves for. And I live in Florida most of the time. So when am I going to need a scarf? So I mentioned this because it's a little more decorative, and, you can just wear it as a decoration. So, but what I did notice, I love this I-cord edging, but if you're not careful, you'll get this happening. So by the time I saw that, I was already up a good fair amount. And I realized, I don't think you'll necessarily see it if you're wearing it unless you're like really looking for it. But since then, I have been super careful every row, making sure, because at the end of every row, you slip 2 stitches, and you either slip it with the yarn in front or the yarn in back. So I've been very careful to make sure that I have it in the right location, so that I end up with the beautiful I-cord edge instead of this little accident. So anyway, I'm looking forward to making some good progress on that, because right now that's my only other active whip. I do still have my Stripe Step socks, but I don't know, I'm not really feeling it. I want to complete them. I need to. I will, but maybe not right this minute. I did cake up some other yarn. I can't show you the one set until at least next week. We'll see. Something that I want to work on, but it's yarn that hasn't been released yet, so I'm not going to show it. But I also caked up this. I don't know if y'all remember this. This is the colorway Inertia by String Theory Colorworks that Bo picked out. Remember I told y'all he was coveting someone else's yarn, but he picked it out at Distaff Day, and I want to knit him a pair of socks. Here's my dilemma. We were trying to figure out, I asked him, do you just want straight up socks all the way down in this colorway, or do you want different colored, heels and toes and cuff and all that good stuff? And he was like, I don't know. So we asked Morgan what she, we were at the dinner table. So she said, different color. I was like, okay, well, what's it going to be? I suggested, because I like something completely different, I suggested a bright red, because there's no red in there. And Bo said no. So we thought lemon, the yellow. And I do have a colorway that I think would really match the yellow if you wanted, if you're going to pick a color that's in there, called smooth as. There's none in the shop, but, and I was thinking, "Why did I name that?" I know what it was like, smooth as butter. That's a dumb name. Y'all, you need to tell me. If I name something dumb, you just tell me, "Carolyn, that's a dumb name." Why didn't I just name it something like buttercream frosting? I don't know. Anyway, so if I dye it again, I'm changing the name, just so you know. But I don't know. So I'm either going to dye that up on a mini, or a set of minis, and I'll put the extras in the shop. Or, oh, there it is. Anyway, I'll get back to that. Or I think I have some purple. I know I've got a. How many purples do I have? I think I have as many purples as I have reds in terms of dye recipes. So I'm sure that there is a purple that will match the purple that is in here. So it's either going to be I'll dye up the yellow or I'll pick a purple and do that. I kind of like the blue too, but I don't think I have a dye recipe that matches that. Look at that beautiful blue in there. I don't think I have a dye recipe that matches that. And I mean, it's a pair of socks. I'm not going to develop a whole new recipe for a pair of socks. So, but I do want to cast these on. So, the fastest option would be to do the purple because I'm pretty sure I have some purples in my stash that would work. A purple in my stash that would work. So it's probably going to be the purple because if I dye up the yellow, I will be dyeing a little bit this weekend, but I don't really want to dye it. So anyway, we'll see when I wanted to cast this on right away, but unless I find that purple, that may not happen. So we'll see. How is it that I'm always knitting something for Bo? What is that about?